Major news happening in Singapore. Singapore just extended the travel restriction to the entire of Southeast Asia, Japan, United Kingdoms, and Switzerland. So this is really big because it's a really huge decision for Singapore to extend the ban to all neighboring countries, the whole of Southeast Asia, and this is really big, really big. So let's read. People who enter Singapore with recent travel history to ASEAN countries, Japan, Switzerland, and UK will be issued a 14-day stay-home notice, and this will take effect 11:59 on Monday, which is tomorrow midnight, and they will apply to all travelers, so including Singapore resident, long-term pass holder, short-term visitors. So it will not apply, however, to Malaysia and Singapore, for Singaporeans and Malaysians crossing through the land crossing as well as sea crossings. So there is a separate arrangement that's being worked out. So this escalation of restriction is because for the past 3 days, in fact the entire past week, most of the newly discovered confirmed cases are all imported cases, and many of them is actually across Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Philippines, and a lot from Europe, and to include Switzerland and UK and Japan. This is the main reason, is because especially for UK's case, they literally have thrown in the towel and they gave up on containment. Like Boris Johnson have said, they are now going from the containment phase into the delay phase. So as a result, Singapore government is not impressed, and we immediately issued a stay-home notice for 14 days for anyone that entering from UK. Switzerland, I think it's also the same case, and less so for Japan. So Singapore government seems to have a more reserved attitude towards what Japan is announcing. Maybe there's a claim, the claims that Japan is not actually testing enough could be true. So the 14-day stay-home notice, how it works is that once, if you want to enter after tomorrow midnight, you have to declare where you will be staying, and then for 14 days you're not allowed to leave the place, be it a hotel or a home. So this is not an easy thing, because once you're there, you're not even allowed to go out to get food. Someone have to provide food to you. So this is to prevent community spreading, because things are really getting out of control. And for UK to give up containment, that means they are going to allow the virus to spread. Does not sit well with Singapore and our strategy to contain the virus. So this applies to entire ASEAN, and for travelers seeking medical treatment, this actually applies to all Southeast Asian travelers that intend to come to Singapore despite the restriction. They have to apply to the Singapore Foreign Service, I think, probably the embassy. So let me look for additionally, all short-term visitors of ASEAN countries are to report information of their health to the Singapore Overseas Mission, and before they travel to Singapore. So they have to be approved by Singapore Ministry of Health before they can travel, and if they are not approved, they will be denied entry. They will be kicked back to their own country. So this is actually for the medical treatment as well. This is because we are having so many cases where people are traveling to Singapore just to get treated for the virus, and Singapore want to manage our healthcare facilities to enable us to meet the demands in Singapore and the possible spike in cases in Singapore. So we are not going to just treat anyone, and because given the reputation that Singapore has been gaining for the past 2 months, a lot of people are actually considering coming to Singapore, because up to today, despite we are now over 200 cases, there is still no death recorded as a result of the virus. So I can show you the numbers. Singapore, so despite we have 212 cases, we still have 0 death. So this on its own is a huge draw for tourists that are or foreigners that want to get treated in a place where they feel they have a higher chance to recover. So this is a huge thing. It's really throwing a spanner down a lot of the plans and for Singaporeans and all the businesses and the families, because so many Singaporeans actually married foreigners. So, and Singapore also advise non-essential travel abroad, or to all countries. This is similar to what Israel have done. So essentially Singapore is almost banning the entire world at this rate. So we will see more to come. I believe very soon we will be looking at banning Americans and the entire of Europe at this rate. So stay safe, and I'll follow up with other news in a while.